That's my job for the rest of my
Okay, in this lesson we're going to look at cancelling down fractions where we have to maybe factorise to be able to do that. So if you look at this one, they're asking us to simplify the following. So when we have fractions, remember we can cancel the top with the bottom. So this x plus 3 could be a common factor. So we can say there's one of them there and there's one of them there. Then we just follow the simple fraction rules. If you can remember, you times across the top and you times across the bottom. So now we have 4 times 1 is 4 and 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, with this next one, we need to remember when we are dividing fractions, remember we write the first one and then we flip the second. So I'm going to write the first one. And when I mean the flip, the reciprocal is another word for it. So this gets flipped over and we change it to a multiplication sign. So then, like we did before, we can cancel top and bottom like terms. So I can say that there's one z minus 4 there and there's also one there. And there's also one z minus 3 here and there's one there. And then we multiply across. So really, I've got z plus 2 times 1 times 1. So that's going to be z plus 2. I've gone across this way. And then I've got 1 times 1, which is 1. So you don't need to have it as 1. So I can just write it ends up being z plus 2. Okay, with these questions here, what we're going to do is we're first going to factorise the top trinomial. So if you look, we're going to use, it's not one of the patterns, so we're going to use the cross method. So factors of x squared of x and x, and factors of negative 4 are positive 4 and minus 1. So then I get 4x and negative x, and they add to give this number here. So I know that my brackets will be x plus 4 and x minus 1. So what I'm going to do is come back over here, and instead of writing this trinomial on the top here, I'm going to write it in its factorised form, which is x plus 4 and x minus 1, now all over x minus 1. So you can see once we do that, I can cross things that are common. There's one of them there and one of them there. And then you could simplify that to be x plus 4 over 1, but we don't need to write, we can just write it as x plus 4. Okay, with this fourth question here, we're going to have to do the cross method and factorise each expression. So I might do this top one first. So I've got x squared minus 7x minus 8. It's not one of the patterns, so I'm going to use the cross method, and I'm going to do negative 8 times positive 1, because that'll give me negative 8x and positive x, that adds. So here's my brackets there. So I'm going to write this top one as, instead of x squared minus 7x minus 8, I'm going to write it as x in its factorised form, x minus 8, x plus 1, over. And now I'm going to factorise on a different, over here, I'll factorise the bottom. It's not one of the patterns. So I'll try x and 2 and 1. That gives 2x and x, so they add. So these are my brackets. So I can write this bottom one as x plus 2, x plus 1. And then we can see now that we have common factors. That and that is common. So the answer for this one is simply, or simplified version, x minus 8 over x plus 2.